How to win a room without saying a word. Nietzsche. The loudest person rarely decides the room, the stillest does. You've been taught that to have influence, you need to speak up. To be heard, you need to be loud. To command respect, you need to demand attention. So you talk more, interrupt more, try harder to be noticed. But somehow, you still feel invisible. Meanwhile, there's always that one person who barely speaks, but everyone listens when they do, who doesn't fight for attention but somehow commands it, who doesn't try to control the room but somehow owns it. Friedrich Nietzsche understood this paradox when he wrote, "The most powerful people are those who have learned to be comfortable with their own silence." Here's what no one tells you about real influence. It doesn't come from what you say. It comes from who you are when you're not saying anything. The people who truly run the world aren't the ones making the most noise. They're the ones creating the most presence. And presence isn't something you perform, it's something you embody. Let me describe what happens when you walk into a room. You immediately start scanning for your place in the social hierarchy. Who's important? Who should you impress? Who might judge you? Your nervous system goes into performance mode. You start talking to fill the silence. You laugh a little too loud at jokes that aren't that funny. You share opinions you think will make you look smart. But inside, you feel like you're drowning, like you're working so hard to be seen that you're exhausting yourself. You watch other people who seem effortlessly confident, and you think they must have some secret you don't know, some natural charisma you weren't born with. So you try to copy them. You mirror their body language, their speaking patterns, their energy. But it feels fake because it is fake. You leave social situations feeling drained, wondering if you said the right things, if people liked you, if you made a good impression. You replay conversations in your head, cringing at the things you said, wishing you could take them back. You feel like you're always performing, never just being, like you're wearing a mask that's slowly suffocating you. And the worst part? Despite all this effort, you still feel like people don't really see you. They see your performance but not your essence. You're so busy trying to be impressive that you forget to be present. So focused on being heard that you forget to listen. So concerned with taking up space that you forget to inhabit the space you already occupy. You think influence is about addition, adding more words, more energy, more presence. But real influence is about subtraction. It's about removing everything that isn't authentically you until only your essence remains. And that essence, it's more powerful than any performance you could ever give. Here's why you're working so hard for so little influence. And it's not because you're not trying hard enough. Your nervous system is stuck in survival mode. When you enter social situations, your brain treats them like potential threats. It scans for danger, for rejection, for humiliation. And when your nervous system is in threat mode, you can't access your natural presence. You're too busy protecting yourself to project yourself. This is why you feel like you're performing instead of being. Because you are performing. You're performing safety, performing acceptance, performing worthiness. But here's what Nietzsche understood. True power comes from a place of inner security so deep that you don't need external validation to feel whole. When you're not seeking approval, you naturally command respect. When you're not trying to impress, you naturally become impressive. When you're not performing, your authentic self shines through. But most people never reach this state because they're addicted to the validation they get from performing. Even though it's exhausting, even though it's inauthentic, it gives them a hit of temporary acceptance. So they keep performing, getting more and more disconnected from their true selves, wondering why they feel so empty despite being so successful socially. The people who command rooms without saying a word have learned something crucial. They've stopped seeking external validation and started generating internal validation. They don't need the room to approve of them because they already approve of themselves. They don't need to prove their worth because they already know their worth. And this inner security creates what psychologists call presence, a quality of being fully here, fully yourself, fully comfortable in your own skin. Presence is magnetic because it's rare. Most people are so busy trying to be someone else that they never learn to be themselves. So when someone shows up as authentically themselves, it's like a breath of fresh air. But here's the deeper truth. Presence isn't just about social influence. It's about psychological integration. It's about becoming whole. And here's the part no charisma coach will ever tell you. Here's what no public speaking expert, no social skills guru, no confidence coach will admit. The reason you don't have natural presence is because you're at war with yourself. There's a part of you that wants to be seen and a part that wants to hide. A part that wants to speak up and a part that's afraid of saying the wrong thing. A part that wants to be authentic and a part that thinks authenticity is dangerous. This internal conflict creates what Nietzsche called psychological fragmentation. You're not operating as a unified whole, but as a collection of competing parts. And fragmented people can't have true presence because presence requires integration. It requires all parts of yourself to be aligned, working together instead of against each other. Most charisma training tries to teach you techniques, how to stand, how to speak, how to gesture. But techniques are just more performance. They're adding another layer of artifice instead of removing the layers that are already there. Real presence isn't about learning new behaviors. It's about unlearning the behaviors that aren't authentically you. It's about stopping the performance and starting to be. But here's what's really revolutionary. When you stop trying to win the room and start being present in the room, you naturally win it anyway. Because presence is influence. Authenticity is charisma. Being fully yourself is the most magnetic thing you can do. Nietzsche wrote, "Become who you are. Not who you think you should be, not who others want you to be, but who you actually are beneath all the performance and pretense." And when you become who you are, you don't need to try to command attention. Attention flows to you naturally because authenticity is so rare that it's irresistible. This is the moment most people click away. But stay with me, because what comes next will show you how to develop this kind of presence. So how do you develop the kind of presence that commands rooms without saying a word? Here's how to stop performing and start being. Step 1. Ground yourself before you enter. Before you walk into any social situation, take a moment to connect with yourself. Feel your feet on the ground. Take 3 deep breaths. Ask yourself, who am I beneath all the roles I play? This isn't meditation. This is remembering. Remembering who you are when you're not trying to be anyone. Step 2. Listen more than you speak. Real presence isn't about taking up space with words. It's about creating space for others to be themselves. When you listen deeply, not just waiting for your turn to talk, but actually hearing what others are saying, you create a field of presence that others can feel. People are drawn to those who make them feel heard, not those who need to be heard. Step 3. Slow down your movements. Nervous energy creates scattered presence. Calm energy creates focused presence. Move deliberately. Speak slowly. Don't rush to fill silences. Let there be space between your words, between your gestures, between your thoughts. This isn't about being slow, it's about being intentional. Step 4. Make eye contact without agenda. Most people make eye contact to get something: approval, attention, validation. But presence-based eye contact is about giving something, your full attention. Look at people like you're genuinely interested in seeing them, not like you need them to see you. Step 5. Stop trying to be interesting. The more you try to be interesting, the less interesting you become. Because trying is performing, and performing is inauthentic. Instead, be interested. Be curious about others, about the conversation, about the moment you're in. Interesting people aren't performing interest. They're genuinely interested. Step 6. Embrace comfortable silence. Most people are terrified of silence in social situations. They fill every pause with words, every gap with noise. But silence is where presence lives. It's in the spaces between words that people feel your depth. Learn to be comfortable with silence. Let conversations breathe. Let moments exist without needing to fill them. Step 7. Speak only when you have something to say. This doesn't mean being quiet all the time. It means being selective with your words. When you do speak, speak from a place of authenticity, not performance. Say what you actually think, not what you think others want to hear. Quality over quantity, depth over breadth, truth over cleverness. Step 8. Stop seeking approval. This is the hardest one. Stop needing others to validate you. Stop looking for signs that you're being accepted, appreciated, admired. The moment you stop seeking approval, you start commanding respect. Because people can sense when you need something from them, and they can sense when you don't. Step 9. Be fully present. Presence isn't a technique. It's a state of being. It's being fully here, fully now, fully yourself. Stop thinking about what you're going to say next. Stop worrying about how you're coming across. Stop planning your next move. Just be here. Just be now. Just be you. And when you master this, here's what transforms. Here's what happens when you stop trying to win rooms and start commanding them through presence. First, you'll discover that influence isn't about convincing people of anything. It's about being so authentically yourself that others feel permission to be authentically themselves. Second, you'll realize that charisma isn't a skill you learn. It's a quality you uncover by removing everything that isn't genuinely you. Third, you'll understand that the most powerful people aren't those who demand attention. They're those who deserve it. But here's the most profound transformation. You'll stop being exhausted by social situations and start being energized by them. Because when you're not performing, when you're not seeking validation, when you're not trying to be someone else, social interaction becomes effortless. You'll walk into rooms and feel calm instead of anxious, centered instead of scattered, present instead of performing. People will start gravitating toward you without you trying to attract them. They'll seek your opinion without you trying to give it. They'll remember you long after you've left the room. And you'll realize what Nietzsche meant when he said, "What does not kill me makes me stronger." Every time you choose authenticity over performance, every time you choose presence over pretense, you become more of who you truly are. You'll understand that winning a room isn't about dominating it. It's about elevating it. It's about creating a space where everyone feels more themselves because you're being more yourself. The stillest person decides the room because stillness is where power lives. Not the power to control others, but the power to be fully yourself regardless of what others think. And that kind of power, it's irresistible. You'll look back at all the years you spent performing, trying to impress, seeking approval, and you won't feel regret. You'll feel compassion for the part of you that thought it needed to earn love instead of simply being lovable. And then you'll feel gratitude. Because every moment of performance taught you what authenticity isn't. Every moment of seeking approval taught you what self-acceptance is. You'll become the person others look at and wonder, how do they do that? How do they command so much respect without saying a word? And you'll know the answer. They stopped trying to be impressive and started being present. If this message resonated with you, if you're tired of performing for approval, if you're ready to stop trying to win rooms and start commanding them through presence, then it's time to make a choice. You can keep performing, keep seeking validation, keep exhausting yourself trying to be someone you're not. Or you can start the journey back to who you actually are. Start developing presence instead of performance. Start being instead of trying. The room is waiting for the real you. Not the version you think it wants to see, but the version that only you can be. Subscribe if you're ready to self-decode, because the loudest person rarely decides the room. The stillest does. And stillness isn't empty, it's full. Full of presence, full of power, full of the authentic you that's been waiting to be seen.